And so before we start this video, I gotta get this mother humping thing out of the way. Mark Holmes is my daddy. Okay, that's out of the way. Ow!
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here from my buddy Cowboys, Joe Boo, as well as Bucky the Beaver. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part. Enough, Bucky. Enough. And being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Taco Tuesday, and we are on to week number 6. We got the Thursday night showdown of course, the New York stinking Giants, and they are extra stinky this year, versus the Philadelphia Eagles, which I'm not sure what to make of the Philadelphia Eagles. I really don't. And I actually look forward to the Dan Saleo show. Okay, I think I'm just going to go in there and just smile. You know, I'm just going to let them argue about A.J. Brown and that the sky's not falling and things like that. I'm just going to be chill. I know it's just the 2 victories that we've had have only been against the New York Giants, and people want to steal your thunder. But I got a question here. I'm trying to understand something. I think we are free to believe what we want to believe. And why do people feel the need to try and steal somebody else's thunder? If somebody wants to have a stupid take or do something dumb, as long as it's not hurting anybody else or breaking any laws, why is it your business? So I get all these, 40 Whiner fans are feeling emboldened right now because, they got the cupcake schedule to beat all cupcake schedules. And they're 4-1. Congratulations. Way to go. Now they're surviving a whole bunch of injuries and things like that. Even Mac Jones pulling a Momo. But I get an email late last night, 11:30 at night. And the title on it is Loudmouth. What were you saying about the Jags today? You know so little about teams in the league. You should only talk about the cows and the egos. You know dick about the rest of the NFL. Niners for life. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh. Well, I think a lot of people probably picked the Kansas City Chiefs last night. They just did. But we're actually looking at the Kansas City Chiefs are no longer the team that they were. Between the injuries, they haven't reloaded. You can only stay on the top for so long where you eventually have to just kind of start all over. And we might be seeing the beginning of that with the Eagles. I was completely wrong because when I saw that Eagle team last year win the Super Bowl and looked at how they had talent across the board, I was like, oh my God, man, this is scary because to me, and this is one you can tell me I was completely wrong, and I'm okay with that. I looked at that and I said, that is the closest team that I've seen like the 90s Cowboys. That was last year's team. This year's team, not so much. Because I'm trying to figure out how it is that they've only lost one offensive lineman, and now Saquon Barkley looks like Zeke Elliott. He had 6 carries, 3 receptions, and now he's dealing with soreness. That he is 2.5 yards less per carry than Javonte Williams, who's number 2 in rushing in the NFL, on less carries. And you have to actually say, maybe I need to, maybe I was wrong about the fire the GM part. I don't know. I mean, I'm just hypothetically here, because it doesn't look so bad right now not signing Micah Parsons, especially if they do something with the money and the draft picks. If they get a couple of good, credible starters with those draft picks, you might look at this and say, okay, that was a good move. If they end up using that money and they're able to pay George Pickens, and Javonte Williams with it, you say, okay, yeah. Because in the end, you got to have a defense, but you damn sure got to have a great offense. And you can see that you can scheme against other teams. And I hope that's okay with what I said there to Jay Maxwell. Or will he fire off another email because it just pisses him so off that it drives him crazy? Be that as it may, I'm one who likes to, and I've learned, a lot of times I've gone through during an Eagle game and literally have been, the Eagles getting the business and everything. They're going to lose. Only to find out I should have shut the hell up because I jinxed it. Or maybe it was just fate. But I ended up looking like a jackass, like Chad and Jay Maxwell and all these other trolls say that I am. So I've learned it's better to be quiet and let things happen. And sometimes it's better to let your play on the field speak for itself. You know what I mean? It's better to let the play on the field speak for itself. So Rico Dowdle, who had an incredible game this past weekend, against the Miami Dolphins, and I have to say, I think the Miami Dolphins, I think they've already got their golf carts and golf clubs in the car. They've checked out. I said, with that hot coordinator. Remember when Mike McDaniels was hired? Everybody's like, oh, Mike McDaniel, he's a genius. Miami's headed for the Super Bowl. They got Tua. They got Tyreek Hill, man. They got Jalen Ramsey, man. They got Bradly Chubb, man. That team, and guess what? They some bullshit right now. They're bad. Carolina beat them. So Carolina is feeling good. Carolina's playing better. And the thing I always hear from everybody is, don't sleep on Carolina, man. That team, it's like every week we hear that everybody is the greatest team in football. Now, the Cowboys better not play down to Carolina. Not that they really can play down, because the NFL is crazy. Jaguars beating Kansas City. Cowboys have a better record than Kansas City for those that say the Cowboys don't have a chance. Cowboys have a better record than the Baltimore Ravens, and actually a better defense than the Baltimore Ravens. So if you say the Cowboys are out, nobody's really out right now. If you say Baltimore still has a chance, if they can hold on till Lamar Jackson gets in, then by all means, the Cowboys aren't out. If you look at Kansas City that just got beat by the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-3, then you can't say the Cowboys are out at 2-1. But I think you might be able to say Miami is. And so there's the idea that if the Cowboys can continue and make October a month to remember, that if they're in contention and playing well, that the Cowboys before the November 4th trade deadline should make a move. And one of those targets could be Bradly Chubb. Now, Bradly Chubb has his contract this year is $12 million. And this is the last year of any guaranteed money. He has no guaranteed money left. And you're at the point right now for the Miami Dolphins of you have a dead man walking in Mike McDaniels. And you're starting over. So what you start looking at now is, do we start taking guys that are getting older that when we rebuild the team aren't going to be here? Trey Hendrickson is another one of those guys that he's on the last year of his deal. The Bengals ain't going anywhere. And so do you look at it and say, we're going to play the string out and let him walk and be a free agent? Or do you say, we'll take anything because it's better than just nothing? We'll see if we can dump some of the salary. We get a draft pick. We can start the process of rebuilding. And if the Cowboys, let's say they beat Carolina, let's say they beat Washington, you start looking at this and saying, okay, we got a real chance here. Let's go ahead and try and make a run via what the Rams did, getting Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr., and rode those guys to a Super Bowl. And Bradly Chubb this year, right now, has got four sacks, and definitely is getting it done. Last year he was injured, but he's back and he's playing well. Surprisingly, one of the few on the Miami Dolphins that do, and would be a great trade target. But back to letting your talk on the field do your talking. So Rico, as I was saying, had a great game last week. Okay, I think 206 yards. And so he's feeling himself. And maybe he didn't mean this as throwing shade at the Cowboys, so to speak. But, of course, things will be taken out of context. Because if I give you something like this taken out of context.
So it's like, all right, basically, you want to eat some ass? You want to eat up some ass? We can eat up some ass. Let's go. What?
If you take that out of context, it sounds pretty bad. But he was saying, basically using the term as beating somebody up in a fight, okay, as opposed to actually physically eating, okay? So that's what they mean by taking out of context. But Rico is apparently not happy that he wasn't re-signed by the Cowboys, and I can understand that. I'm betting that by the end of the year, if the season isn't great for Green Bay, if the first 2 games of Green Bay's season was more of a mirage, I can guarantee you that Micah Parsons will be pissed that he's not in Dallas if Dallas plays well. So Rico said, they got to buckle up. I think they know for sure. They didn't keep me for 5 years for no reason. They kept you here for 5 years because you were cheap. And that is a Stephen Jones thing. You really only played 1 year. And it wasn't even the whole year. So the Cowboys thought, we don't want to pay a whole lot of money for this muffler. I don't want to play home. Yeah, old school. Yeah, you old people know that one. And they decided, let's go in a different direction. And quite frankly, it looks like the decision that Jerry Jones made, getting Javonte Williams for $3 million, bro, we struck gold. You look at a couple of moves that the Cowboys made, and not every move they made has been great. But they took a chance on Javonte Williams, A+. They did the trade for George Pickens, A+. You did the trade, and you got Clark and 2 first-round picks. Right now, yeah, you lost Micah. Right now, you got to look at that and say, Clark is playing really good. I'm not ready to give a grade on that one, but, we'll see with the draft picks. That's probably going to be an A+ right there. So not everything that the GM did is awful. So should we still call for firing him? Is this Cowboys team a little bit different? Now, keep in mind, going into the season, and for all you that are sending me emails and talking about the Cowboys suck, yeah, we were worst defensive football last year. Our team had Cooper Rush starting. Our quarterback got hurt. We had no running game. We had one receiver, and he got injured. We know we sucked. We got a whole new coaching staff. A whole new coaching staff. So you don't expect to come out and say we're Super Bowl contenders. And I have not said the Cowboys at any point are Super Bowl contenders. I said the Cowboys win 9, 10, 11 games. To me, it's a successful season, knowing the turnover on the roster, becoming one of the younger teams in the NFL, 3rd youngest. And new coaching staff, you don't expect to be great. So pump the brakes on this. The Cowboys just suck. Well, we're rebuilding. Duh. But if we can play well, we can add some good pieces, why not? So let's take a look here, because now the Commanders got back on track. They're looking pretty strong. The Eagles, I'm just waiting for the implosion. And the Cowboys, we just don't know yet. The Giants, well, we know they stink.
The Washington Commanders, as we all know, it was an ugly win week 1 against the Giants, and then it got ugly for them in Green Bay to the point where they lost Jaden Daniels for 2 weeks. Marcus Mariota, in his first game in the place of Jaden Daniels, throws one to Terry McLaurin, who almost scores a touchdown. He gets taken down. It's called a touchdown. It's then ruled no touchdown. He's out at the half-yard line, not because he mistakenly flipped the ball in celebration too soon. He's just taken down in week 1 and then taken out of the game, and now he hasn't played in 2 weeks. And it's kind of like, what's up with that?
What's up with that?
They win that game, Washington, against Vegas, but lose in Atlanta the next week. And Jaden Daniels is now coming back without McLaurin, and he's got a knee brace. And who the hell's running the football for him anyway?
Right.
That was the question about the. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Could you please move? Oh, I can't see him.
He can't
I
see
mean, literally standing right behind me.
There's another guy with a rake. There's two of them.
But the bottom line is, this is a team that coming into week number 5 had not played like the team that had knocked everybody out of the playoffs except for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Right? And then they showed up in SoFi, and the one thing that I take away from this game, with 27 unanswered and a ton of takeaways and Saxapalooza of Justin Herbert, a Chargers team that is definitely missing their 2 tackles now. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
It's now really coming home to roost. And this team that we saw in SoFi on Sunday for the first time in 2025 looked like the team from last year. Where they were bringing the wood, and Jaden Daniels was an absolute task for the defense. And I saw that, and then Bill Krosky Merritt. Nice to meet you. Bill Krosky Merritt. Sounds like that guy you meet at the Elks Club trying to sell you some real estate.
Having a couple cocktails.
Yeah. Hi, Bill Krosky Merritt. Nice to meet you.
Just ripping heaters.
Was he ripping? Dude.
Bill Krosky.
It sounds like, doesn't he?
It's like Bill Brass.
Not wondering about the run game now, are we? Are we? I'm not. That was it. That was Rick Dalton GIF right there.
Yeah.
Now, Jaden Daniels wasn't running it in and throwing it in and doing all of, he wasn't lighting up the fantasy world. You know what I mean?
No, Debo's balling too.
That's correct.
Debo is balling.
Right. And so that was a script flipper right there for Jaden Daniels, who came up with his 12th game with 200 or more passing yards and no interceptions since 2024. And the only ones who have as many such games are Lamar and Jared Goff. Mahomes can join them tonight. And Bill Krosky Merritt, 111 rush yards, two scores, and 39 receiving yards as well. He leads the NFL in yards per carry at 6.6.
Crazy.
Okay. 27 unanswered. That was large. A win after being down 10-0. Largest win after facing a double-digit deficit for Washington since 2001. 1.5 sacks for Vaughn. And then the unkind cut for Jim Harbaugh is the individual who essentially sealed it with a 1-yard line interception of Justin Herbert. It's Mikey Sanderstill, who was part of Jim Harbaugh's team 144 that won it all for the University of Michigan. The last undefeated team to win a national championship.
Yeah.
Maybe ever in college football. So, well done, Washington. And they're now 3-2, just one game behind Philadelphia. And looking at the Washington schedule, as we looked at Philadelphia's schedule in week number 1, they don't face each other until week 16. Oof. And then they face them in week 18. And in between is Washington's home date with Dallas, where they visit in 2 weeks. The next game for the Commanders is a Monday nighter. Chicago coming off of a bye, and that's going to be lit. As Jaden Daniels is back, we're assuming maybe McLaurin could be back, and they are back in the spot where the Hail Mary took care of Chicago and essentially started a tailspin for the Matt Eberflus era for the Bears. That's their next game before a visit to Kansas City after the visit to Dallas on a Monday night, week 8. Oh, baby.
That's going to be a big one. That's a big game.
Home for Seattle, home for Detroit. Next 5 are pretty big for the Commanders. Mm-hmm. Pretty monster big for the Commanders before they go to Spain and then have a bye week. Perfect time for them to show up looking like last year, which is what I thought they looked like for the first time this year. And your Dallas Cowboys, pal, I don't want to hear it about, the Jets this, the Jets that, this, that, the other thing. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. They lose to the Titans. Look at the Bills against the Patriots. All due respect,
go.
Chris. All due respect.
Say that
The
first.
Bills are supposed to win their home games against the division opponent. It doesn't matter who you face. You have to beat the ones that you are facing because this is not homecoming. This is the National Football League. Okay? So your Cowboys, pal, got it done against a Jets team that just had a short week in Miami and wanted to show up and show out for their coach and make sure he's not the first 0-5 team in the history of the National Football League without a single takeaway by the defense, which they now are. Unfortunately for Aaron Glenn, he deserves a better fate than that. And the Dallas Cowboys minus CeeDee Lamb go in there and take care of the Jets. And, you know, could you say Dak's playing his best football of his career? TJ, you've watched them all.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say.
Don't you
like
think?
the advanced numbers on what he's doing, you know, when you
Crazy.
do a deep dive, he's having an amazing season.
18 to 29 for 237 yards and 4 touchdowns. 4 of them.
But we all know Dak is only going to be judged based upon what he does
In
week
January,
19
which, by the way, you can get to January right now. 2-2-1 is absolutely in the mix in the NFC. Let's get CeeDee Lamb back. Let's figure out what you can do on defense.
Look,
And then one other thing before I'll give you the floor. Honestly, one of the many reasons why I wasn't buying into the Cowboys this year. First of all, was the head coach. I think he's proven that he's pretty darn good.
I think so.
Brian Schottenheimer. He's calling the plays. The offense looks terrific. It's one of the best offenses in the NFL. And one of the reasons why is the other reason why I thought I needed to see it before I could buy it. We were saying this also, Chris. You were on the board of like, who the hell's going to run it?
Yeah,
Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
Let's check the box.
He's been
with him.
awesome.
he's great.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought so. You know, he had a great rookie year, then injuries took over, right?
Yep.
He got hurt. He had to rehab. But, man, I am so happy with him right now.
A buck 35 and a score yesterday behind an offensive line that was missing 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
4.
So the offensive line is up. In all honesty, you got to look at it this way. Sometimes you got to look at the alternative, correct? All right? And the alternative could have been they go into New York, a Jets team pulls it together before they go to London and beats a team with a very talented defense, which they still have. I mean, they're missing Quincy Williams in a big way. Okay? And so the Jets could have beaten a team that had been down their best receiver and 4 of their 5 linemen. The running attack could have been non-existent, and you're like, oh, well, look who ran for 200 yards for Carolina. The guy that they just let walk,
Yeah,
Rico
right.
Dowdle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that could have been, and the Cowboys are 1-3-1, and what the hell's wrong with them? And instead, they're 2-2-1 with them. I think this is an impressive win in MetLife.
Look,
And they're right there. They're 2-2-1. The Commanders are 3-2, and the Eagles are sitting there at 4-1. Let's go to work.
Yeah.
Let's go to work. We have Dak after the game on this front. Oh, and because the fans were chanting MVP for him, because you guys are everywhere.
this is true.
No, North Jersey. That's a big Dallas crowd.
I bet. Here we go. Hit it.
In my life.
We travel.
I mean, my ears work, so I heard it, but I didn't hear it. To your answer, it's week 5. I don't care. I don't care if it was week 17. Right now, the success and the continued success is going to happen. Is just a beneficiary of all the guys in that locker room. I didn't play near as well of a game that I wanted to. Well, too many incompletions. I got to look back and see why. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, it's just happy and excited fans.
Obviously, he's playing the best football of his career, I think. And on top of it, you normally, when you lose your top receiver due to a freaky run play, right? You're not going to go 7 touchdowns with 0 interceptions and a passer rating of 128.7 over those 2 games. But guess what he's done? That. And when the defense couldn't stop the Packers, he was answering.
He was doing it.
Well done.
Yeah, Dak was runner-up for MVP. I think we forget about that in 2023 when Lamar
Well done.
Jackson won 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns. He's playing, like you said, if not better than that, right now, and he's on a great pace.
And Pickens, man. Pickens is doing what you wanted him to do.
Flournoy last night was incredible.
Yes,
6 for a 114.
And Fergie Ferg, man.
Yeah.
He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL right
he went
now.
a whole season without scoring touchdowns, and then he decided, since I'm playing TJ in fantasy, let me get all those back. And
one last one. Javonte Williams already has a career-high 5 rushing touchdowns. Okay.
He's going to shatter that.
Who's got him in best ball? Right. Me and TJ.
Williams is the 5th Cowboys player with 5 or more rushing touchdowns in the team's first 5 games of the season. The others are named Zeke, DeMarco Murray, Calvin Hill, and Emmett.
Right
By the way,
now,
did it 4 times.
He's on pace to be the 5th leading season in Cowboys.
Nice.
Here's another little Cowboys stat. Williams and Ryan Flournoy, the receiver, they became the first running back wide receiver combo in Dallas history. We're talking the Dorsets, the Emmets, the Pearsons, the Irvins, to each have 100 yards before halftime. First time it's ever happened in Dallas history. Dude. A running back with 100 yards, receiver with 100 yards before the half.
Good job out of them. I thought it was a nice win for him.
It was. Look, Rich, I'm not trying to say this team is great, but as I was telling Chris, we are, one drop pass, and maybe if our time guy was a little less scrupulous. I'm just saying,
guy over there. Let's not do that. Let's look ahead and know that you're taking on a Carolina team in Carolina next week that is much better at home. They shut out the Falcons and they came back on the Dolphins.
Why is it that when I try to say something good about it, you guys try to shut me down? I was trying to be like, no.
And then it's a Rico Dowdle revenge game.
Thank you.
It's a rare Rico Dowdle revenge game coming up next week. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that.
There we go.
Check us out every single day streaming live.
Shout out to Rich. He didn't talk about the Eagles, of course, but hey, we got plenty of time to talk about the Eagles. As always, good people, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and we will see you soon. Peace out.
I can't stand it anymore. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're one on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
Yourself.